So hey guys, welcome back to the video of our CSS series. In the previous video, we were learning about the positioning of elements, how to align elements, and we were learning more about linear gradient and give how to use transform property to align elements or to scale them. Right. In today's video, we will be learning furthermore about the transform property using SkewX and SkewY. Then we will be learning about the graphics, that how can we create graphics using CSS. Then we will be learning that how can we exactly create complex structures using HTML and CSS. And then we will be learning about keyframes, that how animation works in our web pages, and how can we use CSS to create animations. Then we will be using CSS animation to change the hover state of a button, like what exactly happens when we hovers on a button. Then we will be learning about modifying fill property. Then we will be making a moving animations, like you might have seen various animations in website that whenever you opens a website, some properties or some element starts to move. These things we'll be learning on today in today's video. Then we will be learning about the fading, like you might have seen that some elements comes like from left to right, and they will just fade. Like when they are on left, they will be fully bright, and when they will reach to right, they will be completely vanished. So these are all the things that we will be learning in today's video. So without wasting time, let's go. And I'm sure you are liking this series of our CSS videos. And if you are liking them, do like, share to the channel. Do like, share the video. Let's go on. So for that, let's make a new, let's make a new file, and we will name it as qproperty.html. Fine. We will make it like that. So we have made our, now we will make boilerplate by using exclamation mark. Then what I will exactly write here, I will make two divs, separate divs. One div will be named as div.red. Then another one div will be there. I will name it as div.green. Okay. So I have created two divs. Now let's go for style and we'll style it. Okay. So that we can create a proper color, or we can give a proper color to them. So for that, let's go for div. Then inside div, I will write width will be 50%. Okay. Then inside width, I will write height 170 pixels. Then inside that, I will give it a margin of 50 pixels. Okay. Leave it. Let's leave the margin for now. Let's just give height and width. Fine. Now let's go for our specific colors, that is red. Inside red, I will give a background color red. And similarly for green one, let's give it a background color of green. Okay. Now let's go and check the code, like how exactly it's looking. Fine. Let's see. So right now you can see that it's looking some sort of like that. I have made a flag, right? Just it's because I have not given them the margin. Okay. And I'll give it a margin auto. Fine. Let's see. Now it has came into center, right? But let's do one thing for the top. Let's give it 50 pixels. Let's give it a 50 pixels on the top so that it will be having little spaces between them, right? See, right now it's looking somewhat like that. Okay. So now what exactly is skew? So what skew does, skew x means x-axis and skew y means y-axis. Whenever I will write some code in x, it will change our element towards x-axis, and whenever I will write skew y, it will change our elements towards y-axis, right? So let me show you how. What I will do here is, I will go for particular color, and inside that I will write transform, and inside transform I will write skew, that is qx. Inside qx I have to give a degree, that how much degree I want my element should be slanted or standing towards, right? Suppose I gives my element 24 that is 24 degrees. So you can see our red element has slanted 24 degrees towards x-axis. And similarly, if I give a x-axis of to this particular element, like instead of 24x, let's suppose I'll give it a 45 degrees. So now you can see our element has slanted towards 45 towards x-axis by 45 degrees. So this is how skew x works. Like other rather than skew x, if I just changes it to y, right? Then what will happen? It will change our element towards y direction to 45 degrees. Okay, let's align it here. Fine. Now let's go, and here what I will do, instead of 45, I'll just give it a 15 degrees. Yeah, 15 seems to be more, right? Let's go and give it a minus. What minus will do, it will take it towards opposite direction, right? So let's give it 10. 10 seems to be fine, right? Yeah, little fine, I will say. Still not the worth it one. 8. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Okay, fine. Leave it. So I'm sure that you are understanding the basic concept, like how exactly SKUX and SKUY works, right? Let's for now just let's keep it X itself. X. Yeah, it's looking a little fine, right? So this is how our SKUX works. Okay, and SKUY. Mostly, it's not necessary to use that because we never makes any website or any things like that. So it is not that much important for you. But in case if it is, then yeah, like you can see to create some structures like that. Like I don't know what it is, but still you can understand the concept, right? Let's remove this margin so that you will understand what I'm talking about. Like, I have made some sort of flag kind like in CC1. So yeah, to SKUX is used or SKUY is used to make functions like that. Now let's come to our another topic of the day, that is creating a graphics using CSS. So till now we learned about the common things like how to transform or how to change elements, but for now we will be learning about creating a graphics like graphic kind which has shadows, 3D kind of structure. So for creating that, let's go back to our VS Code, and here we will create a file name uh, graphics. Okay, .html. So to create a graphic, we need nothing much, just we need few things. First, let's create a div. That's it, mostly. Now go for style. Inside style, I have to just do some styling. Okay, that is wait. Let me do some styling. That is first select div. Inside div, let's give it a background color of pink seems a little nice, right? Pink. Then I will give it position. Position will be absolute. Okay. Then I'll give some of the things, that is margin, auto. Now let's see how it's looking. Do one thing, give it a class that is what? Or moon, as you like. What we are going to do actually, we are going to create a crescent moon, that is, some sort of crescent moon. You guys might be knowing what I'm talking about. Because in CSS, it says that it is the easiest structure to create, or the people can create it very easily. So I'm going to make that moon. So for that, what I have to do here is, firstly, I have given it a background color of pink, then I've given it a position absolute. Okay. Then I have to decide it with, that is 100 pixels, and same as height pixels. Okay. And similarly, I have to make height 100 pixels. Fine. Yeah. So for now, I have given it a width and height also. It's looking here like that, right? Technically, that margin doesn't means anything to it. Yeah. So instead of that, let's give it a box shadow, because what we are going to do, going to make that uh, graphics using box shadow and border radius. Okay. So what I have to do here is I have to give it a border first. Border radius around, how much should I give? Border radius of about, suppose 2 pixels. Yeah, 2 pixels will just do fine. Then what I will give it a box shadow. Box shadow, what box shadow does? Box shadow gives a shadow throughout, like around our element. So we have to give the coordinates, that is top, left, clockwise notations. Clock, uh, top, right, bottom, left, like that sort of. So what I'm going to give it around 20 pixels top, 20 pixels up, sorry, 20 pixels. Then I'm going to give them a box shadow, right? So what exactly is box shadow? Box shadow will give the shadow throughout, or you can say around our elements. It contains of four things, that is offset X, offset Y, and then there is blur radius, and then is spread radius. Okay. So what is offset X? If I will give value of offset X, shadow will come towards x-axis, and if I will give a shadow like offset y, if I will give a value of offset y, then value shadow will come towards offset y. Let me show you, like 20 pixels of as of offset x, and same 15 pixels. This is offset y. Okay. Then I have to give a blur radius, that how much pixels my radius should be visible. So let's give it a 10 pixels, and spread radius also 10 pixels, right? And then I have to give a color. Which color I should give? Dark pink. Dark pink. This one works. Okay. So let's go to our code and see. See, for now, our element is looking some sort of like that, right? Let's give it a little more styling. Uh, 0, bottom, 0, left, 0, right, 0. You guys have to tell me why exactly I've written top, bottom, left, right, 0. Okay. I hope everybody might have, I hope everybody might have watched my positioning video in which I have taught you about relative and absolute positioning. So now you have to comment down below that why I have written top, bottom, left, right, 0. And what is the role of that? Okay. So do tell me that. Till then I'll write a margin of 50 pixels. 50 pixels. Okay. So what I have done here is I've given a margin of 50 pixels. But if you want, you have to make it in center, right? So you can just do one thing, margin. Yeah, it will do something like that there. So I have made a structure till now, right? Now let's do some styling in it. Okay. So to make a crescent-like structure, firstly, what I have to do here is I have to give a border radius of 50%. What it will do, it will make it a circle, right? As you can see clearly. Then the second thing which I have to do here is I have to make it transparent instead of transparent. Okay. So instead of having some color, it has become transparent. Now what I can do here, I can do little more styling to make it a perfect crescent shape. Okay. Like instead of having 20 or 15 pixels, I can do just 10 here and 10 here, right? And let's give 0 pixels to blur radius and 0 pixels to spread radius. Yeah, right now you can see that our code has got our moon ready. Yeah, you can see, right? You can just you can just adjust the settings from here, like while keeping it on split screen, so like how it should be make a perfect shape as you like. Fine. But for me, let's keep it 0 itself because it's not looking that much great. So see, this was this much easy it was to create a crescent shaped moon structure, right? If you have any doubt on this topic, then do comment down. I will I will try my best that you can understand, and I will clear your doubts as well. So now moving on further, let's create a much complex shape using CSS and HTML. Fine. So for now, you learned that how can we create a crescent moon. Now let's go and create another structure. For that, let's go back to VS Code and we'll go and we'll create a new file that is complex graphics.html. Okay. So I have created a I have created a file named complexgraphics.html. I think I have written a wrong spelling. Yeah. So I have created a file named complexgraphics.html. In this, I will attach a boilerplate. Then what I will do here is I will write a code. Okay. I just have to create one single file. I have to create a div. I'll name it as art. Fine. So to make a complex graphics, first you have to understand some of the pseudo elements. That is after and before. Okay. So before creates a pseudo element that is, the first, or you can say the beginning of any element. And after creates a pseudo elements that is after, like ending of that element. Okay. I'm sure this was just a theoretical part. When we will be writing and when we will be doing a practical example, then you will be understanding better. Okay, so let's go and let's do some coding right here. Fine. Hmm. So to create a graphics, let's go for our style tag. Hmm. Inside style tag, I will create some of the files, right? That is first I will select hard. So let's do one thing. Okay, instead of writing that whole full sort of code, I have already made a file for you so that you can understand. Here it is. Okay, this is the file I've already created, right? Let's do one thing. Let's run this file and let's exactly show you. See, this is a complex, you can say, graphic using HTML, CSS. So what exactly I have done in this? Firstly, I have give a normal class to our heart, that is our class. In this, I have given it a position absolute. That means it is fixed. Okay, it cannot be moving away. It will be not affected by these top bottoms and all. Then second thing which I have done here is I have given it a height of 70 pixels and a width of 70 pixels as well. Then margin I have given it is auto. What auto will does, auto will align it towards the center. Okay. And the second thing which I have done here is I have given it a background color. That is a little bit shade of pink. Right. If I want, I can do little bit of changes and I can make it of any color. Like right now, my heart color is changed. Yeah, you can see it, right? So this is, I have given a color. Then I have used transform property, that is transform rotate. And I have rotated it to 45 degrees towards up, right? Then I have removed this one and we'll save it for later part in the video, right? Right. Then I have used a pseudo elements that is hard before. That means before one side and after will be another side. Before in that I have used a content and I have given an ND string. Inside that I have used a background color similar as I have used above. Then a border radius of 50%, right? And then I have did everything exactly the same. Let's do one thing. Let's comment it out so that you can understand what one selector element is. This is without pseudo elements. So without our pseudo elements, this was our code. It was looking like this, right? You can see it here. It was looking somewhat like that, right? But now when did I have did this, now it's looking like a heart because it has made two pseudo elements. Let me inspect and let me tell you what I'm talking about. Okay. Like we'll go for here, body, then heart. Okay. Inside this heart, if you will go for styling, right, you can clearly see that our div is going towards x-axis 45 degrees. Then we have used two pseudo elements, that is, one is on x-axis and another one is there, right? This is our element all about, right? Now let's go back to code and see. I know that it's very difficult for you to understand, but the more you will practice, the more you will get it. I will put a link in the description which will be having this code. So you have to go in the description, download that code, and you have to run it by yourself. You have to analyze all the elements, that what exactly these elements are doing. You have to do some checking, like by going here. If I will uncheck it, what happens? If I will check it, what is happening? Then if I'll remove top, then yeah, you have to do all that by your own. Then only you can understand what is happening here, right? So this was all about the complex graphics. Now moving on further, let's go and create animations using keyframes, right? So what is a keyframe? So to understand how animation works in our website, you have to go and you have to understand the keyframes rules. Keyframe is like, it's kind of a set of rules which starts whenever a website is loaded, that keyframe property runs. Then we have to give multiple areas. Like keyframe works around, has keyframes has three things, that is animation name. Okay. Then inside there is animation duration. Like first thing we have to name that what will be exactly the name of our animation that we want to make. Then for how many duration our animation should work whenever a website is open. These two things I have to give. Then we have to go and we have to write keyframes. Inside that keyframes, there is a lot of things, right? Like there is mostly people uses three, 0%, 50%, and 100%. So what they will do, first you have to give for 0%, that when our animation is starting, what should happen. Then comes 50%, then comes 100%. You can choose any percentage between 0 and 100 to give your animation. Let's go and let's type a code so that you can understand it better. Let's remove this and I'll write here. Let's write here animation.html. Okay, so our animation.html file is ready. Then we have given it a basic boilerplate. Inside this, I, I have to give it animation. I have given a class name animation. Then we'll go for style tag. Style tag. Inside style tag, I have to give some of the basics, right? So inside this div, I have to give some basic classes, right? That I have to declare it a height 70 or I'll say 100 pixels. Then I have to give it a width of 100 pixels. Then I have to give many things, like I have to give it a color. Okay. Uh, I'll give, say, background color aqua. Okay. I have given it a background color as well. Then I have given it a border radius. Fine. Like what border radius? I have to give it a 5 pixels border radius. Now let's go and check the code. Okay. Fine. So this is how our code is running. Okay. Now I have to give a margin. I'll give it a margin 50 pixels, and then I'll give it an auto. Okay. So our margin has came. We have given a margin here. Okay. Now 150 pixels and 150 pixels. I have increased the size, right? Now, how our exactly animation works, right? Is that we have to give few things. Okay. That is like we have to give our animation name. Inside animation name, I'll give suppose keyframes, or let's give something else, right? Or you can say color. Fine. I have named my animation as color. Then I'll give it animation duration. That will be about 3 seconds. It's not. We have to give full code, right? I have just written 3 seconds. That will work just fine. Now So now I have to write here keyframes. I'll write keyframes. Inside keyframes, I'll give the name of my animation, that is color. Fine. Inside this color, now I have to decide few percentages like 0%. I'll say 0%. Then its background color should become blue. Fine. Then I will write for 50%. Then when my animation is at 50%, do this. That is change the background color to orange, or you can say. Then at 100%, I'll give it back that I want my background color should become aqua. Fine. Now let's do one thing. Let's run our code and let's see whether our animation is working or not. See what is happening. As soon as I reloads the website, our animation starts. Right? As you saw that whenever the website is loaded, our basic color was blue. Okay. As you saw in the code, it says blue. Let's do one thing. Change it. Re- let's replace the place. Let's change the places. Like it should start with orange, then it will go all the way to blue. Okay. So whenever I will reload the website, right? See, whenever I'm reloading the website, it's starting with blue and it's going all the way to aqua. So this is how our animation is worked. I think this one is having some issues with it, but never mind. We'll sort it out. Fine. Um, let's increase the percentage. Fine. Now, as soon as I reload the website, you can easily see, like, right when the website is loaded, it's coming with orange color. Then it's going all the way to blue. So this is how our basic animations works, right? This was all about animations using keyframe. Now, let's go to another topic, that is using CSS animation to change the hover state of a button. What it says that whenever we will click on button, we want that any animation or something like that should occur. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's create a code. Okay, here, let's create a button right here. Okay, we'll create a button and we'll name it as sign in. Fine. We have named our button as sign in. Let's see whether it's visible. Yeah, it's visible right there. Fine. We'll give it a styling as well. And inside this button, same this margin 50 pixels and then auto copy. Here we'll paste it. So now our button will get a margin of 9 block. And let's change its display to inline block. Then our button will be applying code. I guess I have to give it manually itself. No, doesn't matter. We'll give it 50 pixels, 50 pixels, and 50 pixels. I have given it a 50 pixels from everywhere, right? Right now you can see whenever I'm clicking on that button, nothing exactly is happening, right? Nothing. But let's do one thing. Let's start a trigger, right? Like whenever I will start or whenever I will click on the button, it should create an animation. That animation name will be fine. Inside this, I will give it a duration of milliseconds. Like I want that animation should occur very fast. I will give it about 100 ms. That is 100 milliseconds. That is 1/10 of a second. That will be really fast, it seems. So let's give it 500 milliseconds. Okay. So what will happen? It will just hover. I have changed the name of our animation. Fine. Let's go to our website. Background color. Instead of background color, let's do one thing. Let's change the width. let's do the width of 100 pixels. Fine. And let's remove all the things here present. So what it will do here, whenever I will hover on the button, guess our animation is having some issues, right? Oh, yeah, right. What I have to do here is I have to cut it from here. I have to make a class. In that class, whenever I will hover on the button, hover, select hover, then I want this class should be implemented. So for that time, I have to use it. Now our animation will work. See, what is happening? Whenever I will hover on the button, our animation starts to work. Yeah. See? Right now it's a little glitchy, right? Let's change it to 200 milliseconds. You can see whenever I'm touching on it, it's working fine, right? See, it's extremely fast right now as soon as I'm touching it, right? But our animation will just last for single time, like for 500 milliseconds. It will just go that and it will come back, go that and it will come back. So this is how our animation works, right? This was about our animation, giving animation to the hover state of a button. Then let's come to another topic, that is modifying fill animation. So moving on to the further topic, that is modifying fill mode of an animation. Okay. So as you saw, right, as you saw in the video that whenever we were hovering on the button, it was like going, its width was increasing and it was coming back. Okay. So, but we doesn't want that, right? This is just spoiling our animation. We want that our button should remain at that state whenever I'm touching that. Simply, if I wanted, I would have did that by simply putting some values in hover. Like if I wanted this, I would have did that width should increase 100 pixels, right? That whenever I will hover, its width should go 100 pixels. This was working just fine, right? But I doesn't want like that. So here, this is the place where film mode, animation film mode comes. So what I have to write here is I have to go and I have to write animation, okay, animation film mode, and then I have to write forward. So what it will do, it will keep our element like that. So for now, this I think there is some glitch in that because our fill mode is not working. But never mind. Let's leave this one and we'll move on further. That is creating movement using CSS animation. So till now we were just learning about this static animations, like our property is just still and it's just doing color changes or some sort like that. Now let's do one thing: create a movement. Fine. Uh, to do that movement, what I have to do here is I have to make positions of an element relative. You remember, right? That I guess if you have watched that positioning videos, you will be remembering that whenever the position of an element is said to be fixed or relative, we can use its offsets, that is right, left, top, and bottom, to create movement. So that particular thing we will be using right here, right? So for that here, what I will do here is I will give it as position relative. Fine. Now I will change our animation and I will write here color. Fine. This is the color animation that I have to write. So what this will do, it will create a sudden sort of animation, right? I have to give it a background color. I want a background color should be white at 100%, and it should be exactly towards right. Fifth, fine. Right. But let's do one thing. Let's give it 0 pixels. Copying the same thing. So this is for 0. This is for 50%. Let's give it. Hmm. Okay. So what exactly I have written here? what I'm doing is I have made an animation in that when it starts, right? Its color should be white. Then when it goes on till 50%, it should come 50% below top, right? And then at 100% it should go back. So let's check how our animation is working. See, so what is happening here? Let's change it to 3 seconds. 5 seconds seems to be a little big, right? So what is happening here? Our animation, whenever a website is loaded, animation starts. So from zero, when our element is zero, it will be white. And then when it comes to 50%, then it will come little down. And when it comes to 100, it will be 50% towards bottom, and then it has to go all the way up. So it creates a sudden movement, as you can see here, right? And I have changed the color, so it's look that it's going vanishing like that. So this is how can we use, or you can, this is how you can create movement in our elements, right? Now to create movements, this is how it was. I hope you might have understood this topic. And then coming to the last and final topic of our today's video, that is creating a visual direction by fading an element from left to right. So right now we were doing from top to bottom. Now we have to do from left to right, and we have to make it fade. So for that, let's make a new file and let's make an awesome code, and we'll name it as fading.html. Okay. We have made a file named fading.html. Inside that, let's create a basic boilerplate. Inside this boilerplate, let's make a div. Fine. I'll make a div name. Let's make a div name ball. I'll make a div name ball. Then inside this, I'll give it a style. Fine. So inside this, I have given it a name. Okay. Let's do one thing. Let's give it an ID because we will be using JavaScript. So now let's do one thing. We will take our ID as ball. Okay. Inside this ball, we have to do some class. We have to do some adjustment. That is with 70 pixels. Fine. And then we have to give a height 70 pixels. We have to give it a border radius. Border radius of 50%. Giving it a 50% will make it a ball kind of structure. Then I'll give it a margin 50 pixels from top, and the remaining list will be auto. Fine. This has given it a margin. Now let's do one thing. Let's give it a position. Position will be fixed. Fine. So what fixed does? Now let's give it a background color. So for giving a background color, I will use a linear gradient. Uh, linear linear gradient. Inside this linear gradient, firstly, I will write a degree, that how much degrees I want. So I will give it around 30 degrees. Okay. Inside this, I'll give a color, like I want aqua. Fine. And inside this aqua, let's go on little lighter version. And I want it to be aqua. Okay. This should be little darker version of aqua. So what I have done here is I have made a ball, and that ball has linear gradient. I think like you can see here. Let's give it little lighter color so that you can be little more clear. Yeah. Till here it will work fine. Yeah. See, it has got a gradient which I wanted it to get. Fine. So our ball here is ready. Now what I have to do here is I have to give it an animation. So for giving an animation, I have to give it animation name and animation duration. Fine. So let's do that first. For that, let's start by giving it position relative and aligning it a little bit towards left 20%. Fine. Or let's do one thing, give it a right, it should go. So now our ball is towards the right direction. Fine. Now let's give it an animation name. Fine, for giving an animation name, I'll give animation name. Animation name. Inside this animation, I will name fading. Fine. And then I will write here an animation duration. So animation duration will be about 3 seconds. Fine. So this is our animation is ready. Now we'll use keyframes. Keyframes, and then instead of ID identifier, I'll name here as fading. Fine. Now inside this fading, I'll go for 0%. Inside 0%, what I will do here is I have to make a movement kind of fade, right? So for that, I have to make it for left 0. Let's keep its opacity as 1. Fine. Similarly, when it will become 50%, let's keep its opacity 0.5. And let's give it a movement, right? So I want it should be left 30%, or right now it's right 20, right? So let's give it right 10% or right 5%. And when it will be 100 completely finished, our animation will be finished. At the time of finishing, our opacity should be 0.1, 0.1, and our any element should be left 60 or 40%. Okay. So what I have given, I have made an animation in which when animation will start, our opacity will be 1 or any element will be completely visible. Then when it will become 50%, our opacity will be half. It will be translucent and it will be shifted towards right side. And when it will be 100%, then opacity will be 1. Let's check it. Let's see. Uh, it's having like it has still has some glitches, right? So what I have to do, I have to do some adjustments. Like instead of that, let's remove the opacity from here. Fine. Uh, let's just use two things, right? Let's just use 0 and 100 so that it should look very much smooth. Direct for 50%. Fine. See, so let's run it. I have done little bit of changes here. Now let's run it, and you can see our animation is looking like our ball is going towards right and it's coming back soon, right? So this was let's remove this back here, yeah, so that our ball will be in the center. See, so how exactly our animation is looking, whenever we will reload the website, it seems like it's going towards right and it's coming back. So this is how we can create animations or movement animations that goes from left to right by using CSS and HTML. If you are liking this series, then do like to the channel. I hope you have understood all the concepts that I taught today. So this much was it for the video. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, see ya. Have a good day. Take care. And if you do have any doubts, then do comment out. I'll see you in another one. Till then, bye bye.